In this lesson, we will be talking about dilations, right? Your objective today says, today I will be able to find the new coordinates of shapes using a dilation. So first, we're going to talk about what dilation means, right? So when we dilate a shape, we multiply the x and the y coordinates. So we're making the shape bigger, right? So if you look, this little triangle became this big triangle. We could also go backwards and make a shape smaller. So we could start with a big triangle and end with a little triangle. Right? But a dilation is going to change the size. Right? We're going to change the size. So we can go bigger or smaller. To do that, we're going to be multiplying our coordinates by certain numbers. Right? We're going to be using something called a scale factor. The scale factor, we use a K for scale factor. It just tells us how much bigger. Like, should we do up by 2? Should we go up by 4? Should we make it really big and go by 10? Right? Or maybe we're going smaller and we want to do half as small or a third as small. Right? But that K is going to tell you how much bigger. Right? So here's kind of like our formula. Whatever's right there is telling you what to multiply by. Right? Whatever the K is, that's what you're multiplying by. Right. So here it is, a little bigger. So whatever number's here. So let's say I put a 2 there. That means I'm going to multiply all the x numbers by 2. Right? Now I could put the same number and do y and multiply all the y's by 2. We could get fancy and put a different number there. Right? So in this case, you'd multiply all y's by 3. Right? So we'll do an example. So let's say we start with the point 3, -4. Right? If I apply this dilation, a prime, for this, I'll do 3 times 2 and get 6. And for y, I'll do -4 times 3 and get -12. And that's how you do that. So you just look at the number here, tells you what to multiply that letter by, and this number tells you what to multiply the y by. So we're going to do an example. So in here we have this big rectangle. So according to the formula, we're going to multiply all the x's by a half and all the y's by a half. So everything gets multiplied by a 1/2. So what I'm going to do, first we're going to make a list of all our points. Right? So k, -3, 2. J, -3, -3. M is 5, -3. And L is 5, 2. Right? And then I'll find my new ones. So my prime point, I'll multiply every number here by a half. Right? So like -3 times a half would be -1.5. 2 times a half would be 1. -3 times a half, -3 times a half. 5 times a half is 2.5, 2.5. And then 3 times a half again. 5 times a half, and 2 times a half. Right? Multiply everything by 1/2. So then we just plot all those points. So -1.5, comma 1, -1.5, -1.5, 2.5, -1.5, and 2.51. After you plot your points, you should have the same shape, but a different size. So if you start with this shape and end with this shape, you did something wrong. right? So your little shape should match your big shape, right? So they should match, just be different sizes. So there you go. So like that, we're going to look at same shape, but we're going to change the multiply this time. So this time, the x's are by 1/3, but the y, see how there's no number? Y is going to stay the same. If there's no number in front of it, it stays the same. So we're going to do the same thing. So k is -3, 2, -3, -3, 5, -3, and 5, 2. So this time, when we do our numbers, said y is going to stay the same. So I'm just going to leave all these y's the same number, right? We didn't change those. The x's, so all of these will multiply by 1/3, right? So -3 times 1/3 is -1. -3 times 1/3, 5 times 1/3, 5 times 1/3. If you're not sure about these fractions, it's really easy on the Desmos calculator. Just do 5 times 1/3. Over here, it'll give you the decimal. If you wanted the fraction, you could click that little button, and it'll go back and forth. We want the decimal, 1.667. So 1.67. 1.67. Okay, so now we're going to plot our points. So -1, comma 2, -1, -3. 1.67 will be about there. -3, and then +2. So our new shape is here. Right? We didn't change the y's, right? Remember we left the y the same? So it makes sense that they're still even here because we didn't change the y. Only the x numbers changed. So this went in and that went in with the skinny rectangle. So look at this one. So now we made some smaller, now we're going to make them bigger. So when we do these, so again, I'm going to write down my points. So A is at -2, -2. K is at 3, -1. And L is at 1, 2. Right? So we see x's are by 1.5 and y's are also by 1.5. So we're going to multiply all by 1.5. Right? So all of them by 1.5. Okay. So again, you can use the calculator. Right? -2 times 1.5, -1. Oh, no. Clear your calculator first. 1.5 times -2 is -3. 3 times 1.5 would be 4.5. -1 times 1.5 would be -1.5. And then 1 times 1.5 would be 1.5. 2 times 1.5 would be 3. So we've got our new point, so we'll plot them. So -3, -3. 4.5, -1.5. And 1.53. Our new triangles here. There you are. It's a little bigger. Not too much bigger. So we are going to look at another example. So this one, so our first two, we made them smaller. Our second one, we made it bigger. This one, if you look at this, x is 0.5. That's going to make x smaller. But y is 2, which means the y's are going to get bigger. So you can do a combination of bigger, smaller. Let's see what that looks like. So I'm going to write my points down. 3, -1, and 1, 2. Right? So x's are times 0.5. So all these times 0.5. Y's are times 2. So those will be times 2. Right? So 0.5 times -2 would be -1. 2 times -2 would be -4. For k, 3 times 0.5 would be 1.5. And -1 times 2 would be -2. L, 1 times 0.5 would be 0.5. And 2 times 2 is 4. So I got my points. I'm going to plot them. -1, -4 for my new a. 1.5, -2 for my new k. And L is 0.5, comma 4. Okay. Okay. So there's our new triangle. We made the x's smaller, which made it skinnier across. But because we made the y's bigger by 2, it made it really tall. Right? So our shape became skinny and tall. Alright, so you try. So I'll do this for you. So j is -1, -1. I is 0, -3. L is 2, 2. And I'll be honest, I don't know what that says. We're going to call it y is 1, 3. So I want you to take these points and try this. Pause the video, try it out, and then unpause, see how you did. So both are by 1.5. So that'd be multiplied by 1, you get the same thing. Multiplied by 0, you get 0. -3 times 1.5 would be -4.5. 2 times 1.5, I know I did that. 2 times 1.5, it's 3. That's right. So 3, 3. 1 times 1.5, and then 3 times 1.5. There's our new points. So if you plot them, -1.5, -1.5 would be here. 0, -4.5, 3, 3, and 1.5, 4.5 would be there. And there you go. Remember, if you're having trouble with anything, please come to office hours so I can help you. It's going to be really hard to get help if you never come to me to get help. Right? I promise I'll help you, but you have to come. I can't come and find you, but so you need to just come on your own, get the help you need.